So today I just wanted to come to you guys with a bit of a different perspective, perhaps. I wanted to let you know that your thinking is the beginning and the ending of your suffering. Now, what might I mean by that? When you first have a thought in your mind, depending on the person you are, you might have a certain reaction to it, right? A certain negative reaction. So let's say, for example, you want to be a more outgoing person. You want to be more confident or something of that nature. So you tell yourself, oh, I should go introduce myself to these people. I should go to this outing. I should go to this event. And when you start thinking about it, you start thinking it through, right? Oh, you've never been that type of person. You shouldn't go do that. If you do that, you're going to embarrass yourself. You're going to make an even worse fool of yourself if you just stayed here at the crib and didn't do anything, right? And you feel even worse about yourself because deep down, you know, you do want to be more outgoing, but you're just too afraid to take that first step and you're putting it off and you're not aligning yourself with the person that you say that you want to be. The process beyond what happened, right? First thought was, I want to be more outgoing. As soon as you started thinking about everything else, what could go wrong, what might happen that might lead you to be further and further from that goal that you set out for yourself, that is the thinking part, right? I brought up a concept before where the original thought, that's a thought, and everything that comes after the rumination, that's thinking. And that's where the suffering truly happens, because oftentimes it can reinforce the destructive behaviors that you hate so much. I know in my example, I always say I want to approach a girl that I think is bad just because I think she bad. But when I start thinking it through, oh, she's so bad, looks wise, I might not be good enough for her. I might not have enough money for her. I'm an awkward guy, so I might put her off, so I shouldn't even go try to do it. But the goal was, I just want to go say what's up because I think she look good, right? It was never about getting the girl. But somewhere along the lines, I misinterpreted myself with my thoughts and said, oh no, you said you wanted to go do that, but now you're worried about all this stuff. What happens if it goes wrong? And if I allow myself to not approach that girl because of those thoughts, I'm subconsciously admitting that those thoughts were right and that I am identifying with those thoughts, right? So the key distinction to make with thinking, you can have those thoughts. There's nothing wrong with the thinking going on because oftentimes you can't control that thoughts. They kind of just come to your mind. So the easiest way to break a thought pattern, a negative spiral, is just through action. I feel there's nothing wrong with having the thoughts, right? Because I can say, oh yeah, she bad. She might, you know what I'm saying, want a nigga with money. She might not like me because I'm awkward. And I can abide by those thoughts, or I can still go do it regardless. And whatever comes with that, I can take solace in the fact that I did what I said I was going to do. No matter how else it went, I did what I said I was going to do. And that was the only thing that I really cared about. Now, you can say, oh, but you might just be coping. You really know you want that girl. She bad. You wanted to crack. Yeah, I did, but I can't control that outcome, right? There's only so many factors that you can control outside of yourself, right? I find her attractive, but who's to say she finds me attractive? So I took the first step in getting what I wanted, which was possibly getting that girl, going to say what's up, and everything else that followed after. In that moment, I tried my best. And in that moment, I did everything that I could to get what I wanted. And that's the first step. Everything else that comes after, oh, what if I don't do it good enough? You don't got to worry about any of that if you don't first take that first step. That would even put you in the stadium to play to begin with. Thinking can be the beginning and the ending of your suffering. If you choose to prolong suffering, because I feel like suffering is just the prolonged experience of pain, you can end that suffering just like that if you take action with who you truly want to be. There's this Buddhist way of thinking, or this Buddhist example, right, of the second arrow. You might have heard of it. If we look at this thing practically, say you get shot by an arrow, right? We going back to the medieval times real quick. Stay with me. But you get shot with an arrow, like say, for example, you in the army or something, right? A bull pull out a bow and arrow, he shoots you, right? Obviously, that first arrow hurts. Now, a second arrow, if he shoots you again, logically, you're going to feel even more pain, right? Because you've been shot twice. So now you're suffering a little bit, like the pain is even more prolonged. It's going to take even longer to go away. So you're not having a good time, right? You can use that frame of thinking and that example in the mental state as well, where a thought can be the first arrow, or whatever thing that happened outside of you can evoke an emotion from you, right? Say, for example, you get rejected by a girl, right? That can be the first arrow. Oh, yes, she rejected me. It hurts because I don't like getting rejected. It feels bad. It makes me feel like I'm not good enough for her. It brings my confidence down. It makes me feel like I'm not worthy of anything, right? It can make you experience all that pain. But the second arrow in my opinion, which is to entertain that first arrow, to really dwell on it. Say, for example, you see another girl you want to talk to, right? Oh, I want to go talk to her. It would be great if I could go get her, right? But you followed that frame of thinking that the first arrow sent your way, the first arrow of you getting rejected by the other girl. So now you start thinking about that other arrow. You're like, oh, I got rejected by this girl, so this girl probably won't like me. She didn't find me attractive. What's the odds that this one's going to find me attractive? They're all just going to treat me the same way. They all kind of look good. I'm noticing a pattern. An attractive girl, I try to go after her, she say no. You know what I'm saying? You build up enough data in your mind where you start to entertain those ideas as truth, when in fact there's so many aspects of reality that could have influenced the girl to reject you, and you just don't know any of those factors to be the definitive reason of why she said no to you or not. And you can say I'm coping, you can say, oh yeah, but what if I really am just chopped, right? Even if you feel like that's the case, but attraction is subjective. I know it's there's some people who are objectively attractive and objectively unattractive, but to just sum everything up and say, oh, just because I look this certain way, that means this person doesn't like me, right? That takes the human experience out of it. We have so many emotions, we have so many thoughts that experience how we feel about a person, whether or not we want to keep them around in our lives. Of course, your looks can play a factor into it, but to assume that's the only thing when you just don't know, it does nothing but limit your, way of thinking, which then limits the actions that you're willing to take, right? So just entertaining that negativity. Oh, this girl rejected me, so I can't go after this girl that I want now because I'm gonna just get rejected again. That's the second arrow. You're just prolonging your suffering, right? You're low key doing a self-fulfilling belief system, right? A self-fulfilling pattern that you're building up, right? Oh, I notice every time an attractive girl comes up to me, I feel nervous. I just feel like I'm gonna get rejected, so I'm gonna probably get rejected. If you build up enough evidence of that being the case too, you notice that an attractive girl rejects you, and you start to say, this is the model that I go by, right? If I do this which has happened in the past is gonna happen again, so I'm not gonna do it. And it's not your fault that that stuff happens, because your brain, its function is literally to protect you, is to make you survive. So things that have happened in the past, they try to use it as evidence and predictors of the future, which is why you're so obsessed with that bad thing happening. So you don't want to have this bad thing happen to you again. So your brain is working as it should. There's nothing you can do about that beyond just entertaining it with your actions. You know what I'm saying? So you got to break the cycle after a while. It doesn't matter how bad your thoughts might make you feel. If you know you want to do something, you just got to go do it. Because if you keep giving in to that internal dialogue that keeps you limited, you're forever going to keep doing that. And it's only going to get more and more potent. The more evidence you build up and the more you pay attention to the negatives in your life, the more you're going to feel like that's all you're ever going to have. You don't really have any more or less of something in your life. You just focus on it more, or you choose not to focus on it more. So whatever you direct your attention to, that's what you're going to see in your reality, right? So you look at life through the reality of, oh, I'm an unattractive bull, right? Literally everything that happens. Say, for example, a girl, she look at you and look away real quick. A dude who thought he was attractive, he would say, oh yeah, she got nervous, so she stopped looking at me, but I seen her looking at me. You, since you think you chop, you're going to be like, oh, she saw me, I'm so chopped, though, she looked immediately away, it means she's not interested. Literally, if you think a certain way, you're going to notice evidence of that in your everyday life just because you thought that way. Your brain is somehow going to convince you of that being the truth because it's trying to protect you. And that's always going to happen unless you take the action to break that pattern and give your brain some different proof. Say, for example, you go and approach that attractive girl. Things go well. You might get her number. And you're like, whoa, so I got this girl's number. But wait, this other attractive girl, she dubbed me. But no, this one, who I think is attractive as well, she's saying, yeah, she gonna give me her number. She going, you know what I'm saying, go on a date with me. We going, you feel me? Lead up to a relationship. We're going to try to get into a relationship together, right? Just you being able to get that number, that gives your brain new information to think about. Your brain is going to try to reconcile it, be like, oh no, that was just a one-off occurrence. If you keep trying it, I promise you, you're going to keep getting rejected. So don't even keep doing it. And you can choose to listen to it, or you could choose not to. And that's where you shift what your mind really focuses on. Because I feel like what we are, our experience of reality, is just informed by the actions that we most consistently take. If you avoid discomfort, you're always going to feel the need to avoid discomfort, right? Things that make you uncomfortable, you won't do them, so your scope will stay insanely small. But if you choose to go outside of that and do things that feel uncomfortable until they eventually become comfortable, you've now expanded your capacity and your nervous system and even your thoughts, your mindset, to what is possible for you in this world. So if you want to do more for yourself, you got to choose to do more for yourself. There's no mental trick to it. There's nothing that silences all the noise. You don't have more or less of anything. It just matters what you focus on. If you want to get good things in your life, you got to focus on the good. If you want to keep having bad things happen in your life, keep focusing on the bad. And that's what the second arrow is, in my opinion. Think about the bad things in your life long enough. That's going to be the only thing you experience, the only thing you expect. But if you have the courage to just go against that for 1 second, possibly look at some good shit, you're going to experience some good shit. And that's where the law of attraction, that's where the law of manifestation, it really comes into play. The more you try to align yourself with what you want, the more you start to become a person who gets the things that you want. So you're not even trying to get the thing that you want actively, right? Just becoming someone who inevitably will get that result. You're not even trying to get it. It's just attracted to you because you're the type of person that it can't even deny. And you got to ask yourself, do you want to be the person that just gets everything you want in life? Or do you want to be the person that never even tries because they're so afraid of what might go wrong? That is my TED Talk. I appreciate you guys coming as to why your thinking can be the beginning and the ending of your suffering. You could choose to entertain it or you could choose to cut it off. It's all about what you want. You got to ask yourself, how much are you willing to suffer for what you really want? Because suffering is going to happen regardless. You can choose to suffer and stay the same, or you could choose to suffer and get better. The latter sounds way better, in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think of the whole topic in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Appreciate y'all watching. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Love y'all. Peace.